Hello everyone. This will be an instructional video on the use of this data for the ITE Vision Zero Design Sandbox competition. My name's Lana, and I'm a project delivery manager here at Transoft Solutions, pioneers in automated circuit safety video analytics, and providers of the analysis data from the City of Bellevue provided for this competition. Now, the purpose of this competition is to develop a methodology that applies automated conflict and traffic metric data to select low-cost countermeasures for a range of intersections in the City of Bellevue. To begin this video, I would just like to let you know that if you would like more context on the data that has been provided, you're able to access it through the background documents found over here on ITE's page. This includes an executive summary as well as 3 reports produced performing different analyses using the different metrics obtained. With that, I would like to note that those reports were based off of 40 intersections with a full week of data for each. And now the data provided for this competition will be from the same week. However, it'll only have the morning, noon, and evening peak hours as the amount of data is already very high. Additionally, you will have some instructions which include this video and this key terms Excel sheet. The key terms sheet will include terms that you will see throughout the data, and I will gloss over them while explaining them in the video, but you could just come back here, you can see the term, the acronym, and read the definition in detail as desired. So let's just start by going through one location. Here are the 6 locations where data is provided for. I'll just go into the first one, 124th and NE8. So then on this page here, all the documents that you're provided with. If I go into the first document, this is data provided by the City of Bellevue. So over here you have some basic geometry data, land use, manual counts as well as speeds. You also have the signal data information as well as crash summary statistics for the past 4 years, and you can delve into this. If we go back to the page, the remainder of these items are provided by Transoft Solutions. So if I go into the first image, this will show you sample trajectories by movement. And basically it contains the detected trajectories superimposed onto the camera's field of view. These images are just provided to contextualize the movement names in the legend over here. And these same movements will be provided in later documents. Then below that, over here, we have this metadata document. And basically, this is just the metadata used by Transoft Solutions as we were inputting in the information. This is not as detailed as the one provided by the city, but again, if you'd just like to reference this. So for example, here you have the name of the location, the coordinates for it, whether it was located in the downtown core or not, and the downtown core has been defined in the reports. You then have the speed limit assigned to this location, which was basically the speed limits of through movements for both streets intersecting at this intersection. You then have the basic information such as the infrastructure type, whether the land use was residential or commercial, what the urban density was. So for example, at this location, we indicated that it had medium urban density because it was a suburban area or there were many big box stores near it, and a couple of other metrics. And then on this sheet over here, you have just information for both street names. So here you have the street name, and then you have whether it was the east-west or north-south corridor. Again, this would be important for the movement names that you see later on. The road type was whether it was divided or not, and then you have the signal phasing type, which was for left turning movements, which was provided to us by the city. And then over here, we can actually get into the video analytics data. The first document over here is summary stats. These are just a few quick summary stats for all of the data based on metrics defined by Transoft. And the first value over here is you'll have the average PET value. So again, this will be for the specific data that has been provided. So for the 7 days and I think the 8 hours of data per day. The first item is the average PET value, and PET stands for post-encroachment time. There's a lot of literature on this, but basically PET is a surrogate safety metric, and you can use the PET value to quantify a potential conflict. It basically means indicates how close two road users were to colliding, and the lower the value of the PET means it's more probable that this was a more critical event. Below that, we have the number of safety-related events observed. This is simply the number of interactions observed, and this number can be used to account for exposure. And then the last two items are the critical conflict rates. These are based off of two measures. The first one is the Swedish traffic conflict technique, which again, there's a lot of literature on. And the other one is based off of the city's desired design reaction time, again, with an explanation in the key terms sheet. Now, the rest of the data is divided into traffic volumes and then safety-related events. For traffic volumes, you will have TMC sheets for every single day of this week. So, for example, you could see here that it's from the 13th of September to the 19th. And then if I open one of these documents, I could see that over here I have the time, and it's in 15-minute intervals. And then for every cardinal direction as well as turning movement, I will have counts for those 15 minutes. So for example, columns B to D are for northbound movements, and then we have left turning, through movements, right turning movements. Same thing for the other three cardinal directions. And lastly, the last four columns are for the crosswalks. As you can see, we've provided data from 7 to 9 a.m., 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., and 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then we have the safety-related events sheet. So once I open the sheet, I can see that it contains a lot of information. We can see that the first column has the safety indicator value used to quantify the safety-related event. We provide you information on all events with a PET of below 10 seconds. And then you have the date and time at which this event occurred, which road user arrived first. And then for each road users 1 and 2, we have their ID, their movement name, the road user type, the conflict speed, as well as the median speed. So all of this information is provided to you to help to account for the risk of an event. And I'll just take a step back and remind you that risk is quantified by probability and severity. So the value of column A quantifies probability, and then severity is a bit more complicated because there are several metrics that can quantify the severity. And this is why we provide you information such as which road user arrived first. For example, if it was a through and left turning conflict, the left turning movement arriving before the through movement means that it did not yield, meaning it could be a more critical conflict. Also, knowing the road user types that were involved, a car and a car versus a car and a pedestrian. And then, for example, which two movements were involved. Here was a left turn and a crosswalk. Usually at signalized intersections, left turning vehicles have more of a blind spot. And lastly, you have the conflict speeds, which are the speeds 1 second before the conflict occurred, which again, the higher the value of means it could be more severe. And then lastly, over here, you have some sample videos. Now, you're provided with a variety of sample videos, not just ones that were critical and ones that weren't, to help you to determine which values of which metrics are more severe. So I'll just go into a couple. For example, here, this one is an event with a PET value of 0.99, which is relatively low. But then once I watched the video, there isn't much that seems to be super critical about it. It just indicates that these two vehicles were close. However, I can go into the one that's a PET of 1.16, which is a higher PET, but I can actually see that The event was more critical because it means that the left turning vehicle did not yield for the through vehicle. So again, by watching all of these sample conflict videos, it can help you contextualize the severity. And that is all the data that will be provided for one location, and the same data will be provided for the other 5. I hope this video was useful, and I wish you all good luck on this competition.